We're doing white nationalism, Canadian style. So, the Colonel Sanders-looking guy is Gavin McInnes. Gavin McInnes got famous and wealthy by co-founding Vice News, and then when it became apparent he was in fact a white nationalist, he got kicked out, and has ever since been kind of bopping around the alt-right and being a white nationalist, doing white nationalist things. And essentially, he's one of those folks who fits into the crypto-Nazi category, where he's, gonna say a lot of things that lead you right up to the point of Nazism, but then at the very end, he'll be like, but I'm not a Nazi, though, haha! And that's basically his brand, Like, he reps a lot of, like, Nazi metal bands, and like he founded the Proud Boys, an international terrorist organization, and he is also, I guess, known for, on one of his white nationalist streams, he put an object up his butthole, just things like that. He's a weird dude. And when I say he's racist, I mean, like, old school racist.
We were paying for parking the other day, and there's some guy with a long beard, and he's got the long tunic. And I go, is anyone in this city not a terrorist? And I could make an offensive joke.
I mean, we're 10 seconds into the video. We're 10 seconds into the video. We're leading with, man, is anyone in this predominantly white country white? Yeah.
Joke like that because he doesn't speak English.
Right, yeah, he wouldn't even
So he's
notice
not like, hey, watch it, buddy. I'm just paying for parking, you prick. The thing I realized about that African dude is he's actually assimilating.
It's okay to be racist to people if they don't speak your language. Haha. That's insane, right? Like, what are you doing? He also gets drunk all the time before his shows. I mean, wouldn't you, if you had to be Gavin McInnes?
Like, he probably came here and he's like, okay, what do I do? And they're like, eat the poo-poo, first of all. There's a whole Caribbean section of these channels. Wow. It's like, we know for what go on, I got Babylon closing in on me with the immigration, you got people.
By the way, this organization that he is going on with is called True North. Now, let's see. Yes. Here's True North's Wikipedia page, called the True North Center for Public Policy. Just a run-of-the-mill, usual type of organization, nothing super weird going on with them. They just have on white nationalists. True North's website in 2023 published a video featuring presenter Harrison Faulkner, in which Faulkner claimed the Canadian government was hiding the true cause of the Canadian wildfires in 2023. Faulkner's claim that arson arrests showed arson was the real cause of the fires was debunked, mainly because he pointed to news articles that were published years before the 2023 fires started. What an excellent site of journalism. Good work out there. Let's see here. Anything else noteworthy? And apparently it's a registered charity with the government of Canada. That's interesting. That seems like it should not be allowed, but okay.
Coming up from Guatemala, all manner of things vex me so.
Well, we are joined by a man who really needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway for the sake of consistency. We're here with Gavin McInnes, the co-founder of Vice.
That's how I like to be known.
Right. Okay.
The Vice guy.
Because we're going to go into the other.
Vice.
We're going to get into the other
Vice
stuff that
media.
you're involved in.
Yeah.
Former.
I can answer any questions about Vice, especially recent stuff.
Oh, perfect. Well, I want to get into that too because
let's do
we're
it.
going to talk about the downfall and if it's been
That's
if it's
my
been
area
nice
of
watching it.
expertise.
But also, you were a longtime Rebel media correspondent. Many of you will have likely seen Gavin's videos on Rebel. You're now at censor.tv. You're also.
You look like the dude in Aha.
What is that?
Take on me.
Oh, really?
Take on me.
I've never heard that. I was expecting to get a little bit of banter, but I wasn't expecting Aha.
Yeah, you should look him up. Very handsome chap. He's,
Well, I'll take it as a compliment then.
yeah, Scandinavian.
But what I wanted to know was, when was the last time you had been in Canada?
Oh, very recently.
Oh, you
My
come quite
parents
often?
are old and dying, so I go up there and wipe shit off their ass when they fall down the stairs, and then just leave them be.
Okay. So you don't spend too much time in Canada, but just to do that?
Well, it's a funny
What
thing
a
because you
lovely
do all
son.
this helping when you're there, and then you're like, I'm gone for another, 6 months.
Right.
Hope you don't fall down the stairs again. But they don't want to go to a home, so I mean, I hate to get so dark right out of the gate, but it's a real riddle. What do you do with Scottish people? They're so stubborn. I've hired them a nurse. They fire the bitch. I put cameras. They rip them out of the walls. Like, I don't know what to do. Sending them to a home would be insane. But yeah, I come up a fair amount. I was up in Montreal. Then we went to Mont Tremblant skiing.
Is there anything weird that happens when you enter into Canada? Do you get questioned at the border more than say I would coming back?
A lot of Proud Boys think I'm a Fed because I have zero problems at
Really?
any border. And I agree. It does look weird. Because I know,
thought you would,
I know
yeah.
this guy, we call him Brown David. He's a Proud Boy on Long Island. And
Gee, I wonder why you call him Brown David.
he was part of this fight where these guys, Max Hare and John Kinsman, they got 4 years in prison for fighting Antifa. He was part of that, but they didn't include him because he's Indian, brown, and it looked bad for their white supremacy narrative. But when he flies anywhere, he's looking at 6 hours. I know Proud Boys in Ireland, who, because of IRA and everything, when they fly,
feels like
they're
a boss
looking
fight.
at, hours and hours at the border.
Really?
I've never had any problems whatsoever, and I totally get if you think that's suspicious.
They call you like a glowy or something. They call you like a Fed.
Well, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I think it might be the bureaucracy of travel these days. If you go to Britain now, you don't see a person.
just digital.
You go and you do all your digital stuff. You scan, you check in on your phone, and I take a picture of like my passport my green card. When I come back, I do the same when I come up here, and then I go through all these machines, ATMs, and then at the very end, you look at a guy and you give him a piece of paper, but they don't ask you anything.
No, I've gone through it myself. It's very strange. Especially Pearson is like maybe the most out of control airport. It's typical. I think you coined it actually. What is it? The competency crisis that you've seen at airports. That's something
Careful
that I just.
what Pandora's box you open. I'm obsessed with the competence crisis.
Well, you see it everywhere at the airport. It's
Everywhere.
outrageous.
The airport's especially bad. And even, like, here's what I've noticed about Toronto. I was on Toronto Island, I guess it's called, City Island.
Yep.
For Canada Day.
Oh,
I
that's
saw, like,
not the place to be.
2 American flags. Two Canadian flags. I saw maybe 2 people with shirts that said something about Canada. It was just another day. And the problem with Toronto, and I might talk about this on stage, is Justin Trudeau has this image of multiculturalism where it's like it was in the 80s, but better.
Right.
So now there's hosers and there's this homogeneity and there's this sense of Canadian culture. But on top of that, you have like that Indian thing where they throw colored powder on you. And you have the Sikhs with their swords. So it's like everything but more color. And that is true of food. But walking around that Canada Day celebration, which was just, it was like an airport.
Yeah.
It was muted. I didn't hear English.
Nope.
Once
This
all
is
day.
such
Not
a
at the island in
racist
Canada.
thing to
That's
complain
not the place
about.
to go looking for Canadians.
Was there a parade or something I missed out on?
No, there wasn't even really that many celebrations. As a matter of fact, they've been canceling.
That seems to undermine your entire point. Thanks, Harrison Faulkner. You really Faulknered this one up. You're ruining the narrative he's desperately trying to spin by by claiming it's actually reverse racist to erase Canadian culture. Interesting. I can't wait to look at the lore for the DLC. I'm probably gonna feel like a monster for doing what I do in this segment.
Fireworks shows all over Canada for Canada Day for security reasons. And the reality is, if they wanted to put on a show, which they should, they could. But really, I think ultimately it's political because people are afraid now to be patriotic.
It's a big deal in New York City. The Canadian Embassy rents out they book part of Central Park, and they have Canadian bands come down and stuff. But around here, it was a total dead zone. And I talked to Stacy, who's doing the show tonight, and she goes, the Canadian flag is considered a trucker thing now. It's the convoy thing.
Yeah.
So they don't support it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of Justin Trudeau's post-national identity, right? The one that he wants to try to bring onto Canada. And over the past 5-6 years, it's gotten way worse. You can't be patriotic anymore. We have to accept all of this foreign culture as if it is Canadian and say that, oh, Canadian culture doesn't really exist. And you know that it exists because you grew up in Canada, so you know what Canadian culture is. But we don't really have that, at least in Toronto.
Well, the assumption
in parts.
The assumption is that it's a jambalaya stew, and it's more delicious because there's more flavors. And that sounds good on paper, but you walk around Toronto.
Yeah, because people are like food. Yeah, it's a 1-to-1. Yeah, if you put all some ethnic dishes are really good, but if you put all of the spices into one pot, it turns out it's not so good. And that's why we need an ethno-state, little Timmy. It's like one of their oldest go-tos, and it's all bullshit. Like, it's all such bullshit.
Toronto these days, and it feels like an airport. It feels transient. There's no cohesion. People don't dislike each other. They don't know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
They're existing on their own planes. It's almost like these different dimensions of ghosts. And they have the Somalians have their culture and where they go. I was going to say their bars.
Yeah.
There's hookah joints, whatever. And there's no intermingling. The diversity concept is a total myth.
Oh, yeah.
And it's sad.
Well, one of the things that we're seeing now due to mass immigration is that one of the groups of people that are the most outspoken about mass immigration are second-generation Canadians whose parents came from India. They are Indian Canadians, and they despise this new wave of Indians who are coming into the international student stream and other streams, and they don't.
I guess
they don't
Indians
even
all
drink
hate
at all
other Indians.
Like they're kind of separating themselves from each other, and we've gotten reports. People come up to us in the street. People send us messages that are Indian Canadians, proud Canadians, and they can't stand it. It's a crazy
funny you
phenomenon.
mention that because that's part of my set tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I came here in the 70s from England with Rajiv, and we both, he had an Indian accent. When I say he, I mean all of them. They had Indian accents, we had British accents, and we got the shit beaten out of us, and we quickly learned to say, how's it going, eh?
Right.
Maggie Longclaws is pregnant. We got to fucking figure this out, eh? And when I see, I'm at the point now in Canada where I see Packies, and I'm like, oh, some Canadian.
Wait. Did he just that is a slur, right? Like, I've never heard someone casually drop it before. I just need to double check. Right? Like that's actually a pretty serious slur that he just dropped. That is a slur? Gotcha. Cool.
And they're cool. Like
Right.
they have tattoos and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's
sunglasses
a
on.
strange
So they're
phenomenon.
not foreigners. It's what it's like. It's akin to the Jamaicans in Britain the Yardies who came up in the
Right.
70s. Like they were a British Commonwealth. They drink Guinness. they play soccer, they love the culture, and that's obvious when you see them. I mean, there was Jamaicans in the EDL before it went racist.
Yeah.
So Indians, and it's probably because of the British Commonwealth, are totally assimilated, but not these new ones, as you say. And my brother was in tech, and he can't compete.
No. Well,
Their
young Canadians
resumes are
can,
insane. It's all bullshit, though.
Oh no, yeah.
Like I have a
forged
PhD from
documents,
Djibouti University. That's not a thing.
Nope. No, and actually, that's another thing we're seeing too, is that because of this, young Canadians, mostly rural white Canadians, and Canadians who have, or have parents who are from different countries, grown up here, they can't get jobs. They actually just can't find any work.
Right.
And there's a number of reasons for that, but most of it is the fact that we have so many people now. We're bringing in over 1 million people a year, and people are getting really upset and really frustrated at this situation. And talk about no social cohesion. I think it's not at zero. It's plummeting into like the dangerous territory. That's at least what I fear.
And again, it's not like this. It's not the Warriors movie where there's these rival gangs who hit each other. Though the crime is rampant, but it's just this sort of milquetoast dystopia of people coexisting in a like even we were paying for parking the other day, and there's some guy with a long beard and he's got the long tunic, and I go, is anyone in this city not a terrorist? And I could make an offensive joke like that because he doesn't speak English.
Right, yeah, and he wouldn't even
So he's
notice
not like, hey, watch it, buddy. I'm just paying for parking, you prick. But he doesn't even know what I'm talking about. And it's not just Indians, too. Like, I see a white family, and they're saying some bizarre, like, Slovenian language I've never heard before. I've heard every language in the world but English.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, really. And it wasn't like this even 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's as if after COVID.
No, it was like that 3 years ago. You were just a child and weren't radicalized to racism by that point. Like, oh. The Shield of Night. What is this? Shield awarded to the sword hands of Night, cast in a bottomless black from which no light can escape. The outer surface is only semi-corporeal, providing reliable defense against attacks that are not physical in nature. Revenge of the Night unleashes the dark of night imbued with magic power. Used immediately after blocking an incoming attack, this power is absorbed, bolstering the strength of the skill. Nice.
Canadians were locked down, and we walked out of our houses, and at least Toronto, because as I can speak about Toronto,
Houses.
it's like the city has completely ethnically changed.
Yeah.
Predominantly Indian, but
Yeah, it's almost like people move around sometimes. It's crazy, man. Like, I never would have expected people to move or change their habits. Oh, no. Okay. I made it. You know, nothing like that would ever happen.
you talk to anybody on the street here, any young Canadian, they'll all say the same thing. Being opposed to mass immigration is now mainstream. It's now basically, it's now the punk rock.
Oh, good.
Even
on the island, there was some woman. She wanted to go on the bumper boats. It's like bumper cars.
Yeah.
These round boats they go on. And she's white, so I feel like I can criticize her. And she left her 2 3-year-olds by a tree as she went on these boats. And they're screaming, crying for their mother as she lines up in the line, which takes like 40 minutes, and then she does the bump. And she's got like cornrow things like black women have. And so as she's running by, I'm like, great parenting, great parenting. And then she starts speaking Ukrainian to her girls. And I realized, like, we're getting it in all directions.
Oh, yeah.
And these cultures, I'm sorry, but even Ukrainians, like,
Eesh.
Eastern Europeans are behind us.
Yeah.
Thanks
most
for
of Europe,
gifting a membership
most of
over on
non-Western Europe
YouTube.
is way
I
behind
appreciate
us.
it.
So we're going back in time.
Well, there's no effort from anyone at any political level to actually say, you know what,
YouTube
it's
chat
actually
holding
important
down the
for
late hours. Let's
newcomers
go.
to assimilate. There needs to be a conversation of what are Canadian values, what it means to be a part of this community. And let me ask you about this, because Pierre Poilievre is set to become the next Prime Minister of Canada.
Thank God.
He is about as milquetoast as it gets in reality when it comes to the issues of the day, which mostly is immigration. What do you think about Pierre Poilievre? What you've seen so far? You think it'll be good for Canada?
I've seen him disavow a lot of centrists who have a reputation as being racist. And again, actual racists, I'm sure people think this conversation's racist, but
I'm sure.
Actual racists are maybe 2% of the population. You don't really come across people who want all the blacks to get in a boat and go back to Africa.
No.
You know, you just don't come across that. But
You just don't come across that anymore. Anyway, why is this city so not full of white people? What do you... Like... What do you mean? Yeah, it's so rare to encounter racist people. Yeah, no. That's the fascinating bit, Elaine Malachite. They don't think they're being virulently racist here, despite their views perfectly aligning with, like, the white Southern racists back in the day, immediately after the Civil War, where they wanted and helped facilitate freed black folks to travel to Liberia to settle it as a colony over there. Yeah, like, nah, they racist as hell. Okay, people are saying this is a weak foe. I really hope so, because I don't think I have any healing items left. Yeah, I'm running on empty. Let's see here. Do I got anything? Do I have anything at all I could use? Oh, I can throw innard meat. Gross. This is what becomes of the condemned who get sliced up and stuffed into jars to become saints instead. No! Disgusting! Boo! I do not care for that. Alright. I'll do that. And also... Let's see here. I need to hit like a real truck. And... I'm gonna equip that blessing. Because you know what? Smoke 'em while you got 'em, am I right? Alright. Well, this is not cool. Oh, thank God he is weak. Die. Nope. Got him, baby. Curseblade Labyrinth. Oof. All right. That was luckily a relatively easy fight because that was my last healing item. Oh boy. And I got Curseblade Mira. Attacks immediately after being summoned. I mean, that's cool. Curse blades appear to dance when they spin their shimmering circular blades. These ascetics, who failed to become tutelary deities, were a scourge for those who attempted to invade the horn-sent homeland. Long ago, before the land was overshadowed by invasion, the scourge was shunned and the curse blades were imprisoned. It was during this confinement that Mira met Labyrinth, and upon her death, Labyrinth was plunged into a devastating darkness. Interesting. Your current spirit ashes? Nice. Got the tooth whip? I do not have the tooth whip. Go back to the weird Canadians? Gotcha.
So he's done that dumb sin. He probably hates Proud Boys. I've heard him criticize that German chick.
Oh yeah, Christine Anderson.
Yeah.
Called her a racist.
So that's
all of that.
That's so lame because you're giving vampires a little vial of your blood and saying, "Please leave me alone now."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, that makes them hornier. That makes them.
Yeah.
More. But my point is, I'll take them.
Sure. I think all Canadians think that way.
Yeah.
And I also think if you're at this point, the average Canadian is just desperate for Trudeau to leave and for his entire gang of cabinet ministers to leave, and they'll take, as you say, they'll take anyone. But when you start to dig into it, as you point out, we have a problem in which conservatives think that the legacy media can be won over. They think that actually there are people who genuinely want them, genuinely hate them. They think it's possible for them to get their votes. It's never going to happen.
They don't understand that legacy media they're not media at all. They have one job, and their job is to mediate information to prevent the right getting too angry at minorities or leftists or Marxists or something. So they're sort of like, they want to keep telling us that Santa Claus exists because they know that we'll get real mad if we find out he doesn't exist. So they mediate information. So they'll say, white cop kills black perp, but if it's the other way around, they'll say cop hurts, unarmed man or something. They're constantly sort of doling out the facts in this really mitigated way. And you'll notice this too, that this is why Tommy is such a villain. Yeah, Tommy Robinson in the UK, because, for example, here's a perfect example. So there's this, I think he's a Syrian kid, and he gets waterboarded. He's an immigrant, he's just trying to make his way, and the local white kids waterboard him because they're cruel. And you go, wow, that sounds really bad. And the monarchy gets in, all the celebrities are piling in on this kid. No, that's not what happened. He's an asshole.
Right.
He's been stabbing girls with protractors, including female teachers. He hates women. And he went up to this one boy and he said, "I'm going to rape your sister," who's like 7 years old. So he throws him on the ground, and he happens to have a bottle of water in his hand, so he pours it on him. And the media turns that into...
Of course.
So Tommy makes a documentary called Silenced. It's on censored.tv. It's available on the internet. And he interviews teachers and janitors, and we get the whole story. This kid is not a cherub. He wasn't just minding his own beeswax and he got waterboarded, like not even close to the truth.
No, exactly.
And by the way, the boy who waterboarded him, the guy who was defending the honor of his sister, he had to go into hiding. He was living in Tommy's basement, hiding. And so what was the media doing? Well, they were saving face for the politicians who said diversity is our strength and these guys are angels.
Yeah.
They don't want to admit they're wrong, and they'll happily sacrifice children to these woke gods. Like the whole grooming thing in Britain.
Oh, of course, exactly. It's a perfect example.
Go ahead and rape the kids. Just don't embarrass the politicians who let these Pakistanis in.
And
What the
a
fuck
perfect
are you
example of
guys
this, which
talking
should be a
about?
lesson to conservatives.
Like this is one of the craziest parts, right? Like they live in such a completely separate reality. Like not even a reality, a separate dream world. Where all of these things, they have this shared mythology and mythos of white aggrievement, and all they can do is be like, oh yeah, you know that problem in Great Britain where all of the bleeding heart white people are just covering up Pakistani rapes for clout? ? That's it. That's an insane thing to believe. Yeah, they it's an insane thing to believe, but here they are.
Canada, but I know it won't be. The fact that the media will never treat them fairly is what we've been seeing in the UK, how Channel 4 News put together what appears to be a total sting job on reform. I'm not sure if you've seen the reporting, but basically there was an actor who posed, and this is what Nigel Farage is alleging, that an actor showed up and posed as a Reform Party canvasser, and there just so happened to be an undercover Channel 4 camera, and this guy was saying all this absurd stuff, obviously
racist,
being inflammatory.
stuff.
Yeah, basically saying, I'd get a gun and, shoot the migrants from the channel, like things like this, right? and then of course immediately it made news all across the UK. It was front page news on every other legacy media outlet, and they aren't reporting on what's actually been going on in Britain. They aren't actually reporting about immigration, mass immigration. They're not being honest. All they want to do is just play a political role. If they want to be so political, they might as well run. But they obviously know their role. The point is, the media will never treat conservatives fairly. They'll never treat nationalists fairly.
And they'll never
Night,
expose
Herschel.
their darlings for sinning, like Top 5, that
Right.
rapper
Right.
in Toronto, right? He's from here, I think. He's from North York.
I'm not sure.
Jane and Finch. So this guy shot a man in the back, bragged about it in a rap song. And if the courts were to come down on him, that would be conceding that Somalians are an issue in Toronto, especially Jane and Finch, that area.
Right.
So they let him out on bail. They give him an ankle bracelet. He travels to, I think it was the States. Yeah, he travels to LA and is still recording music. The LA police have him extradited and sent back here and imprisoned because Canada's not doing its job. Not because they don't know who Top 5 is, the rapper, but they don't want to be embarrassed. Politicians' biggest fear is being embarrassed, which is where we come in.
Yeah. It's crazy that people think what racists are around who would want to send people back to Africa. Anyway, we really have a real problem in our government not admitting to having a problem with these filthy Somalians. Like, Jesus, dude. If you are a white person and you're just like nodding along to this and you don't really see any issue with what's being said, like, how stupid and gullible must you be? Like, he's straight up telling you, oh, you're not racist, and then turning around and saying, but, it really just makes good sense to do insert most racist thing possible. What drugs are they on? It's called white nationalism. It's a hell of a drug.
Right.
Our
Ruins
job
your life.
is to expose all of this stuff and make
And
them
they
embarrassed.
have the most fragile egos. I mean, that's like
Right.
the worst fear. I want to bring you back into what's been going on in Canada because things are just basically falling apart at the seams in this country. One of the proposed pieces of legislation from the Trudeau government, I'm sure you've seen it, is Bill C-63, an online harms bill. It basically seeks to criminalize what the government determines to be hate speech and really what the Canadian Human Rights Commission
Criticizing Trudeau.
Well, yes, criticizing the radical transgenders out on the street, parading
Hey, that's
naked,
me.
calling out mass immigration, for example. All of that
It's
is
me,
gonna
parading
be
naked.
legislated under the Canadian Human Rights Commission, and you can end up in prison. You can end up being fined tens of thousands of dollars, and you can be forced to wear an ankle bracelet. You can be forced under house arrest until a judge decides what to do with you. This is
My
really
set
strange
tonight
territory.
is so raunchy. It is.
Well, you should be
N-word
glad that they
laden.
don't have the legislation in yet. 'Cause I don't think it's just online. I think it probably gets you in person
I'm
too.
well, Ben Bankus was going to open.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, I don't want to get arrested. And I sent him a picture of Lenny Bruce getting arrested back in the 50s. Yeah, that and you know what always
crazy.
happens with those laws? They go, okay, what are the parameters? Well, like criticizing a race, just in general, like saying these people are all evil, no exceptions.
Yeah.
And the problem with it is inevitably white males are the least racist group. So you end up with blacks criticizing people, Koreans.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to elaborate on that one, but inevitably white people are the least racist. Please, citation needed on that one. Signed, a white person.
Criticizing blacks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, East Timorese criticizing the f***ing Chinese.
Right.
Taiwanese and Chinese at war with each other. it's a very unfortunate truth, and I think the left hates this. But my experience has been, I think it's everyone's experience if they're honest, straight white conservative males tend to be the least racist people in the world. So they make up.
That's true.
They make up anti-racist.
It's true when you think about it. Is it really? Could it not be like a selection bias and or dishonest framing from a guy who's a known white nationalist? Could that be? I don't know. The thing is, real comedians hate Gavin McInnes. Like, he talks like he's a stand-up comedian, but he's not. He's just a racist. And granted, he's a racist with media training, but like, that's really not that exceptional.
This law is directed at us.
Yeah.
And they're like, next time you say the N-word, you're gone. And you're like, I might say it as a joke. I don't ever use that word in a like, those goddamn ants, get them out.
I don't believe him. When he says he doesn't use the N-word in a derogatory way towards black people, I do not believe him so hard on basically every level there is to not believe someone.
Out of here.
Yeah.
Like, but everyone else says that about whites.
No,
So as soon as you make legislation, you're going to be throwing all non-white males in prison, and you're going to be embarrassed, or you'll just have to change the law and make it specifically against straight white males, which is obviously racist.
When you look at Canada, do you feel sad or do you feel happy that you just don't live here anymore?
Oh, my brother lives here, my family's here.
Oh.
No, I am very.
So I don't really like that I found a place called the Whipping Hut and a tooth whip. Whip bestrewn with rotting, misshapen teeth. Disgusting! Filthy and seething with disease, the teeth are embedded in the whip and dose the victim with deadly poison upon each strike. Oh, God. Well, that's horrifying.
I'm a Western chauvinist.
Misha
So
is
I'm
cool.
concerned about Germany and Spain and Australia and Israel. I consider Israel the West. I think there's a great argument for Japan
I wonder
being
why-
in the West.
I wonder why he considers Israel the West. I wonder why. Maybe he considers them the West, but they're in a special category, all their own, you know, some kind of category for them at play here. Are you making the connection? Yeah. Yeah. Where am I? Giant ahead?
So I don't like this mess. I don't like open borders in any Western country. I honestly don't give a flying about the East. Like when there's a mudslide in Bangladesh or Russia.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Russia
I'm so
could sink into the
surprised.
sea, I wouldn't blink. Russia, China, Africa, just push them underwater. More food for the fishies. I honestly don't care.
Yeah, things famously non-racist people say.
But the West, I feel a real kinship with. You know, they say that
Damn, I wonder why. Why do you why and how do you feel kinship with the entire West?
Americans think they abolished slavery. No, the West abolished slavery. The West didn't invent
English did
slavery.
it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Did the West just abolish slavery though? Because I've been reading King Leopold's Ghost, and it sounds like they just outsourced it to other places on the planet. That's kind of what it sounds like, and kind of what we see in our day-to-day activities here in America. Like, we just outsource the slavery to unsupervised factories abroad.
You know,
we'll never get credit for it.
That's a great example of why I don't like to differentiate, because what
Yeah,
was the
explain
American
Private
Revolution? It was
Prison,
a civil war with
industrial
working class
complex.
Brits against the elites. And these working class Brits and Germans and Dutch liberated themselves from the British elites.
Right.
That was a British phenomenon. So don't separate them. And I love quoting Ezra Levant, because I tried to say this on another show and I was too faced to figure it out. But Ezra always said, going to Britain is a dystopian time machine where I can see where Canada's going to be in 5 years. And I feel the same way about visiting Canada. It is a dystopian time machine that shows where we're going to be. I guarantee you we are going to be discussing legislation against misinformation in 5 years, where we can you know, penalize.
Yeah, there'll be legislation against misinformation. Yeah, you know, like for people who lie. Turns out we actually have mechanisms for that already. They're just called libel laws. And also, this wolf is surprisingly tenacious. There we go.
People who say bad things.
They beeped
about
out a cuss word, but not slurs. Yeah,
Well, I
because
guess
YouTube's
Biden,
monetization
he wins,
system
Well, what do you think?
catches
does not fit in
curse
my
words,
brain.
but
How
not
do you
slurs.
how do you think the next few months are going to play out in the United States? Because from here it looks it looks chaotic. I mean, Biden can't even talk.
Biden's going to
It's-
run.
it's
He's going to
crazy.
refuse to relinquish his chair. That the DNC thinks it's too late to sub anyone out, and they don't want to waste. They don't want to waste Newsom on an unwinnable election. Like, I go to a lot of Little
don't
League
think he can
games.
win?
My kids are in baseball.
God, his
and
analysis is terrible,
If there's
too.
a game that's just toast, and it's like 3-13, it's about to be mercied, what the coach will do is he'll let guys who have never pitched before try pitching, because we're 10 ahead.
Right.
So I think the DNC is sort of in the opposite boat, where they're like, this election's toast. Let's just sort of give up. Someone could try pitching. I don't know. Maybe Hillary Clinton could run. Let's let her try. But they have no intention of winning. And I think, I was saying this on Twitter, I think they know that Trump will improve the country in a bizarre way. Trump, the reason they hate Trump is he's like your dad when he says, guys, it's bedtime. You have school tomorrow, it's 9:30.
Right.
He's
No one
not
likes
like
that.
my dad.
They want to stay watching TV, but it's 9:30, you got school tomorrow, so they go, F you, and they're all bummed when they go to bed, but they wake up well rested
Yeah.
and have a better day at school. That's who Trump is. So what I think is going to happen is they'll allow Trump to win, and he'll make a better country, and then, you know, good times create weak men. Weak men
Oh,
is their
God.
voter base, and they'll have a good chance in 4 years of complaining about, I don't know, white supremacy, mega extremists. They'll find some black kid who got shot by a cop, and then they'll run Newsom, and he'll have a good chance, because women vote, unfortunately. That's what brought us Trudeau.
Yeah, well,
Chicks. He's cute. Yes, he's also retarded.
And he has
Okay.
no legitimate justification to be the Prime Minister of Canada. And everybody knows that, but we just pretend as though it doesn't exist. And we pretend as though, oh yeah, because he's like a prince, you know, he has a justification
damn it.
for it. He has no justification.
My brother's a good friend, Kyle Kemper. He's hung out
Oh,
with
yeah.
Justin quite a bit. Our family is
Oh, yeah.
connected. And I've told
Yeah, I can only make a few of the explosive pots. Volcano pot, the furnace pot. I need to be able to throw like 4 of them. The theory made by the super Nazi, yeah. No, like, guys, it is insane. But unfortunately, this is one of the most popular white nationalist figures on the internet. It's good to be aware of his rhetoric. That saying is so stupid. What they don't account for is that soft men make me hard. uh... These guys are potential cabinet members. Honestly, like, what's troubling to me is learning that Gavin McInnes is even, like, slightly related and, like, in touch with the Trudeaus. Like, I guess it's not that surprising, but, like, God, why? Why are these people so influential?
I've told this story 100 times, but they went on a canoe trip, and Justin was, mosquitoes were fucking insane. Like, you needed a net around your face. And so they light a fire to cook their hot dogs, and Justin is concerned about the carbon footprint of the campfire.
How long ago was this? Like a long time ago?
Oh yeah, long
So
ass
he
time
was
ago. Like 20 years ago.
At least he's ideologically consistent.
yeah. Well, it gets worse. So they, when you go on these canoe trips, the maps are incredibly hard to follow, right? And then you come to these forks that you better figure out. There's no street signs.
No.
So you come to these forks. If you take the wrong fork, you're going off a waterfall. So they go, there's a waterfall here. What we should do is portage our canoes. We'll go down, around, and then we'll get to the bottom of the waterfall. And Justin goes, no, we're good. And he goes, what do you mean we're good? And he goes, I'm going, it's not that much of a waterfall. You'll just plunge and you'll get up again and you'll be fine. Like in a commercial for canoes or something. And they go, well, you have all the food. Can we spread out the food at least? And he's like, no, leave the food with me. I'll be good. I think you know what the story's called. I think I do.
What?
He goes plummeting off a cliff. They portage their canoes. They come around. And Justin is standing there like a wet rat. And he hasn't even like pulled his canoe up onto the shore and turned it around and like got the water out. The food's gone.
This is the worst mechanic in the game.
But he's standing there holding a rope and the canoe is upside down and he's drenched and there's no food and he's just catatonic. Like, that's Canada.
That's like his leadership.
That's what he's done to Canada.
It's like he's taken us off a waterfall and now he's standing catatonic. He's just standing there and everyone's asking him to leave, but he's just not moving. He's just gonna stay
there. And they're
there.
starving for the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
Just like Canada.
Just like Canadians, wow.
So I guess I should have warned you guys that I know how this is going to play out.
That would have been good to know, but as you point out, it wouldn't have mattered because people just voted. They just vote because they like the way the leader looks.
Women are
really
like
bad.
I'm not a sexist. I like women when they're doing what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't like horses when they paint. I don't like Clark Kent.
Why not? A painting horse sounds delightful. I do have to say I really, really hate that I can craft all of these pots, but I have no method to ensure that, like, I don't die. I guess maybe... Here, we'll do this. Okay. Yeah, the fireball swarm is really not fun. Does the smithing talisman... No, it wouldn't affect the pots that day. Okay.
When he's a journalist. Clark Kent should be Superman and use his powers to fly.
Just keep it there.
So I have no problem with Superman. Clark Kent annoys the out of me with his bumbling glasses and everything. Like, stop doing that. And that's
You're
what women
literally
are in modern
like
feminism.
an
And they're
evil
like,
Clark
I'm getting
Kent,
involved
man.
in politics. Trump is racist. And you're like, look, politics is a numbers game.
Right.
Like, illegal immigration is not an issue if there's 1 million illegals in America and 100,000 illegals in Canada. I don't care. It's when it gets up to 100,000, 200,000. In America, it's up to. In America, it's up to as many as Ellis Island took in. I think Ellis Island took in 12 million over the course of its existence, and that's where we're at with just Biden.
Right.
Just Biden.
And
Forget,
it's illegals, not people who are actually registering
no,
at Ellis
it's
Island.
gangsters from
Yeah,
Venezuela.
it's the worst
It's not
type of
some
people.
cute little Mexican family. Hello, I like
Hey.
you've seen the
It's
videos.
MS-13.
It's MS-13.
And but it's also Indians,
Chinese,
people.
yeah.
It's
Who-
insane.
Yeah, it's
How
all
did
the
you get
criminal
here?
organizations
No, it's
you've ever
unbelievable.
heard of.
I just interviewed RGV Truth and Muckraker, and they did the whole route. They landed in
Oh, yeah,
Ecuador,
the videos.
and they went through the what's it called, that gap, through the jungle, and they took the ferries and everything. And there's no families. There's no like, I'd like to pick lettuce, please, let me have it. It's just like 100 Bangladeshis and all these Chinese guys who are staying at Chinese-funded hotels.
Yeah.
It's
Video-
an
video-
act
Oh, I
of
hit him
war.
with the
Where'd you
second
come
one.
from?
I just
China,
need to hit him
China,
with
China.
one more, I think.
India.
The Congo.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, it's not some like rich survivalist from the Congo. It's some guy in flip-flops, and you're like, how the who paid for this?
So one of the things that I don't
Can I
understand.
get that beer?
Die!
So one of the things that I don't understand is that Canada has the geographical advantages to not have to deal with an open border, right? We're not Great Britain with the English
Hey, I
Channel, we're
killed
not
it.
Italy, we're not the
Huzzah.
U.S. Everybody who comes to Canada, except for just a handful that come through the northern or the
Huzzah.
southern border with the U.S., the government knows it. They know about it. It's actually being controlled.
It's very
and
easy
and
to control too.
And I know, but it's happening anyway. We're bringing in millions of people. It's
Because
something
you
that I don't
think about,
understand.
you're
I don't
coming from
understand the reason
Guatemala,
why.
you got to trek all the way through. Even getting to New York is a bitch. New York is still 6 hours from Montreal,
Yeah.
and it gets real desolate up there and freezing fucking cold.
Well, you know what I don't understand is that when I fly into Boston, I fly into Logan Airport, and there are hundreds of migrants sleeping in the airport. So they're being flown
yeah.
around all over the United States, and they're being basically flown up to New York, and they get on another bus. They go up to Quebec. I just don't know why Canada is doing this and what the point is, because it almost feels as though, when, as you point out, going back to the
Yeah. Why would Canada, a place famously devoid of a lot of people, want more people to be in Canada? Gee, I can't figure out the incentive. Why would the nation want to encourage more people to be there? Why would a workplace want more labor available to them? It doesn't make any sense. Someone explain it to my poor woman brain.
to the beginning, when Canadians walk around our cities, it's demoralizing. It is genuinely demoralizing to be in a city that is no longer the city it was just even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I have no
Huh. You know, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, Harrison Faulkner. How can you tell if a city is no longer the same as it was 10 years ago? It sounds like it's a really widespread problem in Canada. What exactly do you look for when you're walking around the city to see if it's not the same city anymore? Sounds like you have a specific set of characteristics that you look for as you're walking around, and I'm just kind of curious to know what they are.
no idea why they're doing it. It's up to New York, and they get on another bus. They go up to Quebec. I just don't know why Canada is doing this and what the point is, because it almost feels as though, when, as you point out, going back to the beginning, when Canadians walk around our cities, it's demoralizing. It is genuinely demoralizing to be in a city that is no longer the city it was just even 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
I have no idea why they're doing it. It's astonishing. I know you've got a show coming up, Gavin, so we don't want to keep you too long, but
No. I
what
got a
you're-
lot to say about this. So.
No, we'll keep going then. Perfect.
And it's I have this cheat box I'm confessing to a crime here.
Okay.
Where I can watch pay-per-view for free and all that stuff.
Right on.
And I can watch whatever pops into my head, and including local news. So I watch Jamaican public access. Barbados. There's a whole there's a whole Caribbean section of these channels. Wow. It's like, we know for what go on. I got Babylon closing in on me with the immigration. You know, you had people coming up from Guatemala. You know, all manner of things. It vexed me so. And
it's ruining Jamaica too.
They talk about that all the time. Because what they do is they'll come from Haiti, they'll go to Jamaica, and they'll get citizenship there. So when they go to America and they get extradited, they don't go back to Haiti, they go back to Jamaica. So like, Mexico is freaking out about illegal immigration. There's this bizarre mentality in Canada and America where everywhere sucks, and we're the only sort of like oasis of joy and hope, and we should let them come in and enjoy.
Yeah, you know, I should really do more editing streams, because Stoudman, that thumbnail that you guys helped me make is doing numbers. I consent. I don't. For Shadiversity, yeah. I'm glad it's doing well. I hope more of my videos can do well. It'd be nice. If I could have consistently like that number of views on videos, I would be doing extraordinarily well. The editing stream was so much fun. Was it? Did you guys have a good time? Because I could definitely do another one to make sure that the content continues to flow. I've decided this will be my riding outfit.
Drink from our fountains.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, dude, Barbados has a major problem with it. Like, Dominican Republic is concerned about Haiti. Every country has immigration problem. Every country has borders. That's what a country is.
I know.
And the idea that we can't have borders, can Chile have borders? Can Argentina have borders? Can Brazil have borders?
What are you
I don't
talking
understand
about,
why
bro?
we're the only ones not allowed to discuss this. And I think journalists have this great opportunity to expose the scam that is immigration, especially with these sleeping quarters all over all the airports in America.
About?
But they don't go near it because they're not about exposing the truth.
Sleeping
they're about
quarters?
Arbiters of truth.
Right.
And they've decided that we can't handle that particular truth.
Well, it's a funny thing you bring up, because when I was in Logan Airport, I took out my phone and began recording it, and immediately you had these Haitian migrants yelling at me. They say, "Oh, you can't record us! You can't record us!" Like, where did attitude comes?
Yeah, because you're being a weird little freak and just filming strangers in the airport, man. Like, if you walked up to me with a camera on me, I also wouldn't want you to film me. I think that's really weird and creepy behavior.
Yeah, who are you?
It's astonishing. And the same thing happens here, actually. We have international students.
It's astonishing that people don't want me to film them in public. It's really weird. I can't really understand it. Says guy who's definitely at some point going to film someone in a bathroom and get sued into oblivion.
Who have come here, many of them likely have come with forged documents.
Oh.
They aren't really students.
Many of them have very likely. Based on what? Vibes? Are you basing your accusation of forgery on vibes right now? That's seriously what you want to do?
They all intended to stay. They never intended to go back, despite having to tell a border agent that they would go home, right? And they're protesting.
This seems like a boss.
They're demanding to be given permanent residency in Canada. And we show up. We're some of the only journalists that actually show up and confront these people. And they call us racist. They say that they're not going to talk to us. They don't think we're worth the time. And it's an attitude that I don't really understand where it comes from. I certainly know that with that attitude, they're not just going to seamlessly blend into, Boston or Toronto. They're not just going to be all of a sudden part of the big American, big Canadian family.
Maybe they're assimilating. Seriously, like there was the Proud Boys had this thing on Canada Day about 7 years ago, and they were desecrating Cornwallis statues and all
yes.
that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So they all got arrested. They were all kicked out of the military, and the media's pitch was they were disrupting an
A lot of
indigenous
dialect
ceremony.
nearby. Good to know.
Meanwhile, the thing was run by Mama Crazy Bear, and she's not an Indian.
Right.
She's just a drunken freak who lives in a trailer. And there was this African guy there, and these military dudes, like third generation, fourth generation. One of them was a First Nations. He was gay, and he was like third generation military. They're all old school military.
Right.
And so their job is to die for the Canadian flag. I'm spilling a lot of the beans of my show tonight.
All right,
This
that's
is what
all
I
right.
get to.
That's not what a soldier's job is. Soldiers' jobs aren't to die for flags. That's stupid. That's a stupid conception of what a soldier does. Like, it's so mind-numbingly stupid, I have to imagine the stupidity is deliberate.
So we sign them up and we say, your job is to die for that flag. Got it?
Yep.
And then on Canada Day, they see people desecrating the flag, writing Canada on it, and then
Yeah.
there's stickers all over the Cornwallis statue that say Halifax. This. And one of them is carrying a Dominion flag, one of the Proud Boys.
Right.
And this African guy goes, take down that flag right now. It is a racist flag. And he's like, what are you talking about? My grandfather died for this
Exactly.
flag in World War I.
Yeah.
I might be getting the
And
time.
your grandfather was a dipshit. Anyone who is willing to die for a flag is dumb as shit. You die for you die for people. You don't die for flags. What a pointless thing to throw your life away for.
Times wrong.
Well,
World
in
War
both
II.
World Wars, that was
Yeah,
the red
that
ensign.
was the flag.
Yeah, exactly.
The Canadian flag is like an hour old.
Yeah.
The
60s.
maple leaf is what, like 69 or something?
Yeah.
The anthem is like 1980. Canada's a brand new country.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was Britain forever. So the Dominion flag is Canadian history.
Oh, certainly.
Sorry, who burnt down the White House in 1812? It was us as Brits.
Yes.
We were not, there
And
wasn't a maple
and
leaf.
the red ensign flag actually shows our heritage. Unlike the maple leaf, which is just a red maple leaf, the red ensign has the French, the Scots, the
Right.
Irish. It has all of that together underneath three maple leaves. It's a beautiful flag, but it's of course, because it's now a hate symbol. Actually, the red ensign. Did you know that?
No way.
The Anti-Hate Network have decided that the red ensign is a hate symbol. And the Anti-Hate Network, they've gone after the Proud Boys like it's their job. They go after Canadians who speak out. They've gone after myself. It's almost like a badge of honor to
The Proud Boys are considered they are considered a terrorist organization in Canada, so I'm not entirely sure where you want to like try to defend that. You know what? I gotta be honest. I completely forgot that Gavin McInnes is the founder of the Proud Boys, right? He's in Canada for this interview. Canada considers the Proud Boys like an actual legitimate terrorist organization. They've been designated as such. He is quite literally a founder of a terrorist organization in this country. It's kind of crazy that he's not just immediately arrested. I'm good. I don't want to fight you guys. You're all precious puppies. Mean no violence to anyone. Just looking for caves. Just looking for caves and secrets. Secret passage ahead? I don't think so.
That's like in Germany. I just found this out. It's illegal to have like a German flag on your house, like
Oh wow.
the same way
well,
you
that's a good thing for national.
That's
pride.
where we're at. Yeah.
No,
Germany.
I'm pretty
Being a
sure it's
nationalist is
illegal to have your
the thing I realized
Nazi
about that
flag
African
on
dude is
display.
he's actually assimilating. Like he probably came here and he's like, okay, what do I do? And they're like, eat the poo-poo, first of all. No, they go, use voodoo. No, they go, okay, so you're new to Canada? All right.
What a classic.
Everything is racist.
Classic
That
joke.
old flag is racist. Canada's history is racist. Anyone who shows any signs of nationalism is a Nazi.
Yeah.
And make sure that every time you discuss anything about Canada, it's about stolen land and colonialism and that. So he's like, he wants to blend in.
Because it was.
So he's like, okay,
And
I
it
had
is.
the old flag.
Yeah, and old stock Canadians.
And old so, I mean, in a way, I'm not even mad at him because I want immigrants to assimilate.
Yeah.
He just got in with the wrong crowd.
The wrong group, exactly. Let me ask you this: when Americans look at Canada, they see all of our churches burning down. They look at, they see a leader who is so clearly out of his depth, childish. What kind of news does the church burning make in the United States?
Zero.
Really?
Well, you got to understand, Americans are incredibly parochial. I think they're designed that way. They're designed not to be curious, and a third of them have passports. So they think Canada is in Europe.
Oh.
Like they
Just
Hi, I'm
doesn't
Tom.
register.
Yeah, there's a lot of incuriosity in that country. Now, of course, there's people who are.
Also, thank you to all the folks hitting the subscribe button. I certainly appreciate it. And we've been going for over 6 hours. Hit the follow button on Twitch. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Like the YouTube stream. I hope the video game and my occasional rambling make this video a little bit easier to swallow. Because I gotta be honest, this sucks. I hate these guys so much. Haven't been here in about 3 days. That's okay. We don't forget you. It'd be bad in the context of a racist joke. Yeah.
Are involved and they care. But even within that community, the church thing is incredibly, and I don't think it's literally esoteric, but as far as like who knows about it, it's esoteric.
Wow.
Like it's almost a conspiracy theory that it happened. And it clearly happened. And it's happening in Europe too.
Oh yeah.
But that's for like, honestly, I'm ashamed to say this, but it's for the top less than 1% of people who are curious about what's going on with the West.
Yeah, it's unbelievable because they've actually been successful at muting that story in Canada too. I mean, there was a video that I saw recently, I'm not quite sure, it might have been Rebel News actually, who went around Toronto just doing streeter questions, asking them if they knew about a very old Anglican church that had a group of 7 painting, a truly historic building, priceless, that had burned down about 2 weeks ago. And nobody knew about it.
No.
Nobody knew about it, nobody cared about it because the media doesn't report on
They're
it.
the arbiters of truth.
Right,
They're
exactly.
holding that back. That's
They
too
don't-
much for us. We
yeah.
can't handle that.
They don't care about it. And
I think it's Antifa chicks. I think it's fat, blue-haired Antifa chicks doing the majority of these burnings.
yeah, I mean,
Based on what? And 2, oh my god, they haven't let go of the fat blue-haired lesbian meme. It's literally the only thing they've got, man. It's the only thing they've got. This is so pathetic. Like, they're really running out of gas, aren't they? Yeah, my hair is purple. Yeah, they gotta update with the times, okay? I don't wanna mess with those. But out of curiosity, I do kind of want to mess with these guys. Okay, they give a decent amount of souls too. Nice.
it didn't seem like something natives would be doing. However, the reality is a lot of the churches that have been
Natives.
burned down and
Ugh.
have been vandalized are on reserves. So It's a strange story. And of course, do the police want to really investigate that, or do they want to try to investigate online hate speech? Do they want to go after something else?
MAGA extremists.
Well,
yeah.
exactly, right? So
Trucker convoys.
it's a strange situation. And of course, the media here, as you know, is paid off by the government, right? The legacy
Literally, yeah.
media gets hundreds of millions of dollars because our media market is so small. We can't even have what exists in the United States with giant, large media corporations
They
which
were throwing
are
out-
actually succeeding.
They were
don't
throwing
exce-
out
they don't
these
succeed.
massive numbers, and Ezra pointed out, he goes, Canada's a small country.
Yeah, we don't have the market.
A tenth of the population, so there's not that many people in media.
So guys, this is just as large as the world map from the base Elden Ring game, right? Like, this is just... maybe a little bit smaller, but like, not by much. Anything important I missed? Last thing I heard about them was possibly replacing Biden with Kamala. That appears to still be the plan. If Biden is indeed going to step down, we don't know if he is or not. But more and more members of Congress are calling for him to step down. Governors are calling for him to step down. I think it is going to be increasingly bad and untenable for him to stay in the race. Oh god, what the hell? What the hell? What's that? Okay. Those... no, those are more skeletons. Okay. We good. I thought he tweeted and said he was not going to. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if you were going to transition power, you're gonna wait until the last minute to say that. In case, like, I don't know, Kamala Harris isn't interested, or like something else happens. You know, you want to get everything in a row, all your ducks ready, and knifey. This is a fun little special ability they have. Yeah, Legal Pants, last week I guessed Monday. For the sake of me being right, I would love if he dropped out tomorrow. We'll see if that's the case. You know, I'm not gonna hold my breath for it or anything, but the situation's pretty dire, and like, it's not getting better. Like, people are posting like that he needs like images of like how to walk to the podium. Like, it's not a good look. Like, even if it's a normal thing, which I don't think it is, it would still be it would still be bad when it comes to like how he's doing. There's a good sword ahead. Try friendship. Oh. Hello. Can I... He appears to be stuck. Can I help him? Is there any way I can help this poor guy? I don't want to hurt him. Hopefully he does. Yeah, I really hope he pulls out. I would like Adam Schiff. Again, we're in cuckoo banana town, but I would guess that if somebody's going to replace Biden, it's going to be a governor, or it's going to be Kamala. Reload? Guess I could. First, I'm going to see this door. No.
Yeah, and I don't think you would count
No.
as registered
Yeah, pray-
media that
oh,
you're
pray
getting a
for
check,
Biden
right?
to receive
so we're talking
divine
about
revelation
CBC and
tonight.
local news stations and editors and sound guys. And it ends up being like 40 grand per person
Yeah.
because there's so much money going into so few people.
Yeah, but it's actually interesting because these old media groups, they're so behind on the times, right? They will show up to an event and they will have a car that is paid for by the company. They're not just getting, not just getting their gas bills covered by the company. It's a company car. They've got some sort of security, a producer, a cameraman, and someone who's in front of the camera to go and do a protest that gets fewer views than a True North video or a
Yeah,
Rebel News
they're
video.
fucking
it's
retarded.
it's
I hate them
literally
all.
not going to survive, and the only way they can survive is by getting money from the taxpayer. And then when these companies eventually have to do layoffs, well, the journalists all screech and
Well, there's another way to get money, and that's to be run by billionaires who have an ideological interest in keeping you around. Anyway, yay, he escaped!
scream and say, oh, our way of life is dying. We're losing the democracy because we're not able to hold truth to
Hello.
power. It's like you've been carrying water
You are
for this
power.
government
Yeah.
for the entire 9 years.
I remember I was doing a tour to promote my book, Street Boners, I believe it was. So this would be like 2010. And
How'd that one
I'm
sell?
talking, not great. I'm talking to CBC Ottawa, and I said, okay, so I was like, just check my tweet or something, or I'm looking on my phone at maps, and it says that I'm 8 minutes away. How far away does it say? And she goes, oh, I don't have a cell phone. And I go, this is 2015. I go, you don't have a cell phone? You're at the CBC in media? And she goes, no, I think it's just a bad habit. I'm like, it is a bad habit, but your job is to be a news junkie.
Yeah.
So that's supposed to be your bad habit. You're supposed to be scrolling through articles and sending me pings and
Yeah.
sharing locations and stuff. But she just had a landline.
And a pen and paper, old school.
Yeah.
It's like break out the fedora and break out the pipe. And
You know you're a spoiled brat journalist when you don't
even
have
need
to
a
have
cell
a cell phone.
Yeah.
And that's the
That's stunning.
CBC in a nutshell.
Bro, you made a name for yourself as a gonzo journalist at Vice News. Like, how are you thumbing your nose at someone not having a cell phone? That seems like the silliest shit.
Nutshell.
That's stunning. Oh, it just that really feels like that's the state of Canada, right? We have a leader who is stuck living in his own universe, journalists that are just actually parading him around and helping him get through, and everyone else is barely getting by, right?
Everyone hates him, right? Please tell me everyone hates him.
Oh yeah.
He's not winning.
No, he's not winning. There's no way he's going to win.
He's a Biden.
He is a Biden. He's an empty suit, and now actually, and he's like what do they call the lame duck at this point, because they know he's not going to win. And now his cabinet's turning on him, and the media is turning on him. Those
That's the
guys,
final sign.
They're basically saying, "When are you thinking of resigning?" They're asking all of his cabinet.
It is a very bad sign that people from Biden's inner circle are... Oh, it was actually a hidden path. Neat. But they are correct in that it is an incredibly bad sign. Caption doesn't move? What? All right. That Biden's inner circle and like these senators and representatives and aides are all leaking like a sieve.
Ministers, do you still stand by the leader? He lost a by-election in Toronto, downtown, that had been a Liberal seat since the early 90s.
Oh, good.
And it is the most red of red Liberal seats. And that was basically, that's it.
Well, just like I say that the media are the arbiters of truth, they are also an indication that it's
You
over.
are the media.
So you see CNN and MSNBC crapping on Biden.
Yeah.
They got the word from above.
Oh, for sure.
The DNC said he's done. Start cannibalizing him.
It's happening now. It's happening in Canada for sure. It's just
what is this?
And frankly, yeah, as you pointed out, anybody else would be better. The question now becomes: Are they gonna try to just make some liberal be the guy holding the bag at the end of it, and obviously losing? Obviously, we had that in the I think late '80s with the Conservative Party when Kim Campbell showed up and got absolutely destroyed because Brian Mulroney just ruined it for everybody, and then he left to not take the loss.
She was the prime minister for like 3 weeks or something, wasn't she?
Close. She outlasted Liz Truss, but it wasn't long. It wasn't long, and she has the biggest loss.
Keeps getting reelected. I mean, I guess we have the British system here, so it's infinite terms.
It is. But he's the kind of guy to me that would resign so he doesn't get blown out.
How many terms has he had?
He is on his third election, but you can call an election whenever you want, right? So he called an early election. He called an early election in 2021, and he didn't. He has the slimmest minority in Canadian history. He's the slimmest minority government in Canadian history. But he has Jagmeet Singh, this NDP socialist.
Terrorist. He's the guy who put Proud Boys on the terrorist list.
Did he really?
Yeah. You know what's crazy about him?
He's the guy who's actually.
He's not allowed in India. He's a terrorist.
No, he isn't.
So my theory is he's a Sikh, right?
Yeah.
My theory is he sees the terrorist list and he sees all brown guys, and he goes, "I want some white guys in there. Put the Proud Boys in there." Meanwhile, those brown guys are all Muslims. Muslims killed 1 million Sikhs. Why don't you dislike Muslims, you moron? I love
voter
Sikhs
base too, right?
Sikhs are on our side. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So.
Right.
I feel joy when I see a turban. I don't feel joy when I see a burqa. But Jagmeet Singh, I think he's so f***ing stupid that he just goes by skin tone. And he's like, too many browns, get some whites.
And
those browns want to kill you.
And he is the guy that is actually keeping Trudeau in power.
Unhinged.
And he does it.
Because all the
They're in a
immigrants?
coalition. They're actually in what's called, it's a coalition, but just don't call it a coalition. It's called a supply and confidence agreement, which basically means that the NDP will not they will not vote against Trudeau in a non-confidence vote.
Oh,
and so
that's a problem with 4 parties.
Well, yes, exactly. And there's only really one Conservative Party.
No,
and
Whitmer
there's this
or
Liberal and
Pritzker
NDP
could do it
party.
too.
The Liberals have consistently moved further to the left, and they have a coalition. So Trudeau's stuck in power, and Jagmeet Singh won't pull the plug. I mean, it's as if we're being held
we gotta
hostage.
get behind? Quebec Separatist Party.
Do you really?
Martine, the one with the mustache, that weird chick with the long white hair, tits, and a big white mustache.
I don't know who that is.
Really?
I know.
the hell are you talking
She's
about?
called like Martine Margot or something like that.
Okay.
And she is.
You're full on. You're Quebec separatist.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Why is that?
Because if you're living in your parents' basement for 400.
Even this guy's like, what the fuck? You want Quebec to be separate? Nervous laughter. Is there a gonzo journalist other than Hunter Thompson? Yeah, they're just not usually famous. You know, usually the issue is like the gonzo journalist is basically just getting by. Like, it's not. Journalism is a very poorly paid profession, generally speaking. Like, unless you make it to like, one of the main outlets, you're not getting paid very well. And you're writing for a pretty niche audience. So gonzo journalists often just aren't recognized for their work, you know?
100 years, and you keep talking about how you're going to leave, get the out of my house.
So you don't even want them. It's not.
No,
it's not like you have a
No, I'm not staying there.
Quebecers.
I'm not living there.
Yeah.
You can have your mustache chick with the tits. And then
That's an interesting take.
I kind of
actually.
feel that way about the States too. Like, We just need, as Mao, my inspiration for politics goes, let 1,000 flowers bloom. Like, maybe we just need smaller countries.
Let it all burn.
Like the Maritimes, Quebec, Ontario, the sort of Canadian Midwest.
Oh yeah. What we think
and
about
BC.
It's weird that Canada's a very weird country in the sense that these are all different cultures. Like I was just out in Newfoundland.
What the f is a Newfie got
and Newfoundland
to do
is
with,
not
like a Quebecer in Hayan-Neranda?
It's different. It's totally different. And then
They
you got,
literally don't speak the same language.
yeah. And Albertans have
Albertans are cowboys.
Yeah, they
Texans.
dislike everyone to the east of them, and they're not the same. It's a strange mix-up, but it's worked. It's somehow worked, and they managed to piece it all together.
Well,
I'm kind of of the assumption that I like to see it all stick together, but it is a unique project.
Well,
It's
the
a young
problem with
project,
open
too.
borders, as I learned in my past 24 hours here, is like, what is sticking together? Like, what is Toronto?
Well, yeah, Toronto.
I mean, we've been talking here, and people have been walking by, and I'm not a white supremacist, but there has not been one white person walk by.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really not white supremacist-y thing to say, Gavin. Yeah, I'm not a white supremacist, but I've been sitting here and I've noticed, the one thing I've been noticing about the people walking by is their race. And there's not enough white people for my taste. Like a very, very, very racist thing to say.
Yep.
Oh, wait, we got one now.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
There he is.
Oh, now as soon as he paid attention, there's a white person. Oh, that's so weird. I can't believe that happened to you in Canada.
There he is.
He's alone.
Ain't that just symbolic?
No, what's symbolic is the two of you sitting in a completely empty, flaccid white room. That's what's symbolic. That's the most symbolic thing about this entire program. You've just been sitting there in a white, empty, colossal room and jerking off about how there needs to be policies to ensure white dominance in Canada. Canada, of all places. This would be like if Iceland was having meetings about keeping the ethnic character of the country, intact. Oh man, we can only do it. I saw one black person last year, and that was too much for me. The ethnic character of the country is changing. Like, that's what they're complaining about, really. And on top of that, like, I just don't... it's because they're racist. I get it. Like, they think that just by getting fewer black and brown people in their country, that would improve it, because white people are just naturally superior to black and brown people. But I just don't understand how that's enough to carry like an entire political viewpoint to the point that this is what you do. This is all you do. Like, that's crazy. Also, hey McWiggin, how you doing? First guy to get offended when you point out how few people of color are at their politician's rally. Hi McWiggin, how you doing? Hope you're doing okay. Hope everything's going all right with you. Hate is carrying their political viewpoint. True. Like, hatred is all they got.
Well, Gavin, I think we'll leave it there.
Yes.
You got a comedy show to get to.
It's going to be so offensive.
Comedy.
Oh, great.
It's not even comedy. It's offensive spoken word.
It's just like
Yeah, I'm going to jail.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, then you can stay in Canada for a little longer.
Yeah, I'll check out the jail.
You might actually see some Canadians.
I'll let
in
you
there,
know how
actually.
diverse the jails are. I have a feeling that they're pretty darn diverse.
No, I mean, like, you took the hood off for a split second there, Gavin. Like, you're right. It's not even a comedy show. It's just an excuse for you to be a bigot. We know. We understand. It's not that revolutionary, bud.
Probably, actually. You're probably right about that. But before I let you go, where can Canadians interact with your work?
Censored.tv is my website. For some reason, I'm allowed on Twitter.
man.
X Gavin McInnes
Yep.
is my Twitter feed. But yeah, I've been sequestered to a corner of the internet where you need to put in your credit card and your home address to be able to hear what I have to say. But 25,000 people are doing it, and we just merged with Compound Media, Anthony Cumia's
right on. Yep.
site. So that's twice the bang for your buck.
Amazing. Well, Mr. McInnes, good luck with the show.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Wow, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thanks, Mr. McGinnis. You really opened my eyes on how to be a racist asshole.